SR episode. Hi, diddly hey, neighborino. I'm kidding. I'm not gonna do that. It's Jim Dempsey here with my man Phil Vandervood, and Phil said you're bringing it together a bit, but I think your Ned Flanders intro is hurting your viewers. And I said, people are watching this? Well, look at you. You're watching this, so thank you for joining us. We'll try to make it worth your while. It is, did I say it? It's Jim with my man Phil, and today I'm asking the question, say, what happened to Profound Lore Records? Now, am I asking that question like, say, what happened to Profound Lore Records, man? Or am I asking it like, what happened to Profound Lore Records, man? Let's find out. Now, if you're new to the channel, well, so are Phil and I. We're still a burgeoning thing here, but a couple things that I do like to talk about include death metal and black metal, and most anything else that I would like to talk about is going to be colored by that perspective, because a lot of people talking about a lot of other random shit, maybe subject matter experts with some college degree or some equivalent education in their field of choice. But when I talk about shit, I'm just calling it from the gutter. And yeah. On that note, let's get right into this one now, shall we? So, quick thing about record labels, because people experience music in all sorts of different ways, so I can't assume my experience is anything that is not, it may be unique to me, or it may be something that other people can relate to. I used to shop, when I was buying a lot more records, I would invariably shop by the label. There was just some labels where you know it was going to be geared toward you, and if you got burned less often than you at least got something fairly worthwhile, right? Now, I'm going to date myself here. I go so far back that Road Racer, was one such label. You'd see the RC, the all blacks on it, and you'd be like, that's probably going to be a really good one. And in time, Roadrunner and then other labels, such as Relapse, would jump that shark, and you'd move on to another label. So I cycled through several different ones, and there were a few that really stuck out to me, and I'm going to give a shout out here. Osmos has been a solid label for as long as I've been paying attention. Every label eventually either fades into obscurity or becomes somewhat of a bigger tent where you can't just trust everything on it. But big ups to Osmos as probably my favorite label throughout my life. And other labels that I did stick out on include, Nuclear War Now and Hell's Headbangers were, I think, the most recent ones before the kids and middle age and all that started to really overwhelm me. But I lasted with both feet in long enough to even see Hell's Headbangers get big enough where I was like, I don't necessarily need to check out every single thing going on there. Good on them for growing that business. Now, Profound Lore was one such, and Profound Lore I was tracking from even before I got around to Hell's Headbangers and to Nuclear War Now, so it shouldn't surprise me that the tent has grown a bit, but I am on a quest, too, for your entertainment and for my own edification and our just general collective benefit. Issue a summary Jim Judgement to as much of the coming underground releases as I can lay ears on at this moment in time, and accordingly, I noted elsewhere the releases seem to have dried up a little bit the last couple weeks of the year, the new year, the expiring year. So I went hunting around, and I checked out the Profound Lore channel, because it's been a minute. So yeah, what's up with Profound Lore these days? So let's I'm gonna cut my music here, and we are going to cycle through some of these releases that I dug into from the top. Now, first thing I came across, this is a one-off track from an upcoming album. This band is called Incandescence from Quebec, not to be confused with the band Incandescence from Quebec. This band follows that Anal Nothrak Ofer mode model that I referenced somewhere else, which really just seems to be the prevailing model in black metal these days. One guy does everything and then someone else comes in and sings. So I'd worried about the plague of one-man bands, but this is a marginal improvement. Now, in this case, this is Incandescence, Quebec. In this case, probably in a lot of cases, I'm just going to say, you can't bring in like a bass player or something, just someone to give you an extra set of ears in there, an extra opinion, because dig this. So this, I'm going to just take the song as an exemplary of the album, and this is well executed by someone that knows their way around several instruments, compositionally sophisticated and capably executed, but sorely in need of some quality control. Because here's the thing: if we can distinguish between melodic as a sound and harmonic as a feel, this is just too harmonic. One guy's playing everything, and so everything just agrees, and then someone else comes in and sings over it, and there's just no contention to put some spice into that, put some feel into the music, and you can kind of feel it. Now, I just turned the volume down on this. The album cover looks kind of like some Dan Seagrave style, generic black metal stuff. It would have been more impressive in a year starting with 19, but that's been a long time for that, so that's where we are with that. And Incandescence from Quebec. Have you ever heard of them? So, if you have not heard the Jim rating, it goes on a triple scale. I rate it on a 1 to 10 according to both the music and the aesthetic, but also just the general broader impact. And on this one, I'm going to go a 1 for the music, and 1 or 2 for aesthetic, and 0 for impact. I'm not deeply impressed. Now, for your reference, in case you are more interested in just anything that sounds like black metal, again, the band is Incandescence. The album is coming out in February, and it's going to be called Or Temps, Horse Temps to us English speakers. Now, I got the inside skinny because my friend is a French speaker, so I rang her up and I said, "What means this Or Temps?" She says, "Well, it just means like out of time, but it must be some kind of colloquial thing, because I don't know why you wouldn't say like Port delay." And I said, "Oh, you don't?" Philip J. Vandal. So yeah, Incandescence, Four Temps. The song is called L'Enfer, and I mean I could L'Enfer existe, and I could suss that one out myself, but she went ahead and translated that for me also. It means hell is real. Now this next one, not to skip through a commercial here. Live radio, bro. So this is Night of the Vampire, the album titled Chasing Shadows in an Ocean of Time, and the song is entitled The Enchanting Winds of the Dream-Weaving Masquerade. Now, you're gonna, with the, so, I like the aesthetic on this more than I like the music, not gonna lie. It's a low bar. The yellow is a bold choice. I salute him for that. The Mortuary Drape logo is nice. That's cool. But, the music, and it's not because it's lo-fi. It's not because it's waspy, washed-out vocals. It's not because of the big din of keyboards. It's not because of the monotonous and uneventful riffing. It's just something in the combination of all of them. It's just going to do this for the whole song, and I'm like, it gets better with repeated listens, so I'll, and I can't assume this is going to be necessarily as exemplary of the full album, but if it is, then the enjoyment factor is going to definitely take a hit for that one. But if I was to just go off the song, I'd give it maybe a 3 and a 6. And no one's ever heard of it, so a 0 on the impact. And that's Night of the Vampire. Now, this next one that I came across is... Dear God. So I mentioned a collaborative effort between Himberg and Wintergrau in another video, and I'd said I find that interesting that it appears to be two artists collaborating. A cat is climbing onto my lap. How about that? I'm just going to roll with that. And this is another example of such. This is what appears to be a collaborative effort. It is Bell Witch and Aerial Ruin, and let's see what I can dig up on this. This is a full album that came out 2 months ago. It is Stygian Bows, Volume 2. So, presumably there is a Volume 1 of this. And, what do I have to say about this? It could be an acoustic guitar, it could just be some a cappella vocals, but it's gonna do this for a full fucking hour, if you can believe that. And I'd like to go 0, 0, 0 for music, aesthetic, impact. Honestly, if I could, I'd go negative numbers for enjoyment, but aesthetic is going to be a 0, just because I'm not even basing on the cover. The fact that this is an hour-long record deducted every single point I was willing to give grace for in any other respect. But for impact, I feel like I heard the name Bell Witch before, and maybe I'll double-check that, just to make sure that someone was actually just talking shit. I'm very not impressed with this. Bell Witch and the aptly named Aerial Ruin. Stygian Bows, Volume 2. I'd really like to know who asked for that, because I assume that person also has every single Graveyard Classics at home. Alright, moving as briskly along as we can here. This is an interesting one. Not this one, but this one. So this is Pallbearer And this is my first experience with this band. The only other time I ever encountered this band was once when they were on the cover of Decibel for the first time. And I looked at it and I said, that's a band I'm not especially going to be interested in. And I didn't buy that issue of Decibel. It began my slow divorce from that magazine that culminated when Darnielle stopped flooding the back page. And, again, kids and middle age and all that shit. If this was faster, I feel like people would call it power metal. And, that's about all I really have to say on the topic of Pallbearer. This appears to be a re-release of an album that maybe came out earlier, but I was not paying attention, so, yeah. Just letting you know that I have, in fact, listened to Pallbearer at least once. Now I'm going to skip around on the sequence here really quick. Evoken has a new album, and I may talk about that at greater length. Maybe I don't know if I can waste a full rundown video on Evoken, but shit, if we are going to do this every day, maybe we'll get around to them sooner than later. But anyways, yeah, this new Evoken album, Mendasium. I haven't paid enough attention to Evoken hitherto to know if this is a new thing they've just picked up, but I did note that all the song titles on here follow the sequence of the Mass, and I thought that was pretty cool. The music on this one, from my initial listens, I'm going to say I'd give this a good 5. It's not the most captivating thing at all times. It can get kind of boring, but it has some really good, strong moments, and it's not weak overall in terms of the music. Just some not sludgy, but slamming black metal, and not slamming in like the sense that, you know, everyone associates slam to, just slamming in like we discussed harmonious. Like, I'm just reaching for an appropriate word, because it's not sludgy. It's not the utter sheer chaos panic of Archon and Faustus, but it's got some of that Ophir Mode vibe on Circa Dodem's Evangelium. Again, minus maybe a little of the Hellfire. But aesthetic on this is a solid 10. I'm going to dig up the full disclosure on not Catholics, nor a monk, so I don't actually remember the sequence of Mass. It goes Matins, Lauds, Prime, Terce, Sext, Non, Vesper. You know, I've read The Name of the Rose enough times I actually should remember that. But, good cover. I like the theme here, and maybe we'll dig up Evoken and cover them at greater length. Again, sooner than later. But, really, the thing that we came for here, this was the standout of today's batch. This most recent release thing on Profound Lore Records. So this is this band. Hang on here, let me. Thank you. Do you think I'm paying for fucking YouTube? YouTube ain't paying me. Phil, is YouTube paying us? Do you think I'm gonna be paying YouTube even if they start paying me or Phil? And so this band, One of Nine. An interesting name, I thought. And there was a few things that also caught my notice here. So, a song called Age of Chains, a song called Of Desperate Valor, a song called Behold the Shadow of My Thoughts, and a song called Bauglir. And, pardon my presumption, I'm just going to say it, North Carolina, all piled on top of this cover, points to some NSBM, the tabletop heathen charm wearing NSBM more than a Nazi tattoo, just hates Jews, prison yard NSBM. But we'll get to that in a second at any rate. So, when I first popped it in, I was like, 1 of 9, okay. And I gave it a listen and I thought, well, I may cumulatively like 1 of 9 songs here, enough to, and as the album progressed, I said, this varies across a lot of different styles, not in a means of, not like a spazcore kind of thing, where they are intentionally shifting styles just to do so, but in that it doesn't get bogged down in any one specific style. They're not seeking to be the epitome of any certain sound to the extent where it detracts from the writing. They seamlessly balance several different styles of black metal across this record, and it's not generally as captivating moment to moment as you might notice here, so much as there are some really interesting moments, and it has a very interesting flow. And when I started with it, I said I'd give this a good 3. It's an enjoyable listen, and I'll maybe leave it at that. And then it went on, and I said, I'll knock this one up to a 4. This is pretty impressive, just for the flow. And as it went on, I said, I may go up to a 5, and honestly, by now, I'm probably about my 3rd listen through, and I'm like, I could go up to a 6 on this. I may have to come back to this at greater length and just do a full episode on this band here, because I do find this very intriguing. The name, 1 of 9, it sticks out. It's unorthodox choice. The album cover, it's not so unorthodox that I can't just look at it and be like, oh yeah, that's a certain kind of NSBM right there. But it is unorthodox enough, or I just correctly don't pay that much attention to NSBM. But either way, and have I been effusive enough about the stylistic shifts? There's a really good flow to this record, and again, it's not so much captivating from moment to moment as there are really interesting moments in here. There's some strong tacits in the song Age of Chains. I think that was the one I was thinking of. And, oh no, never mind, that was one we were just listening to. Maybe it was a different record that had the interesting tacits. Oh no, it was somewhere else on this record. That was it, yes. So, this standout of the bunch. And let's see, this did come out, on October 30th of this year. And I do think that if I can get it properly filed away in my notes, I will come back to this band. And that is everything that I checked out from Profound Lore recently. So, final verdict is, they've definitely expanded the tent. They've gone well past the Jim is your quality control department stage, and they're just putting out a lot of stuff that I can easily be like, dismissed. But there's some standouts in the batch here. So, a mixed bag, and if you've made it this far in, well, thank you for watching. I am Jim Dempsey with my man Phil Vandervood, and we'll be back more anon with further, Lord willing, and in the meantime, Dempsey's Dipson.